Hi, welcome to Bacuh Industries, where we combine nature's lethal efficiency with calculated human design. It is I, Bacuh, creator of the King of the Bay and the champion of the tournament, Hydractus, and the Orc Dog, respectively. The fact that you have obtained access to this transmission represents a highly improbable and, from my perspective, deeply intriguing anomaly. Such an occurrence suggests a level of capability, curiosity, or circumstance that warrants acknowledgement. Therefore, I extend my congratulations. You may interpret this message as a formal invitation, an opportunity to participate in the next phase of our work. Allow me to provide further clarification. In recent years, the exponential growth in genetic science has enabled geneticists worldwide to manipulate genomes with extraordinary precision like never before. We have observed a remarkable degree of ingenuity and adaptability among those that work in this field. In recognition of this, we have elected to initiate a challenge, a controlled yet highly competitive one designed to attract individuals motivated by a wide spectrum of incentives, be it recognition, wealth, prestige, or the pursuit of dominance in the field. Your specific motivations are of little consequence to us. What matters is your willingness to engage, to adapt, and to survive what is to come. If this proposition resonates with you on any level, I encourage you to continue listening. Concealed within one of the secured sectors of this laboratory complex lies a particularly significant creation, one that will serve as a critical component in the realization of our little event, an event that will come forth through competition, chaos, and spectacle. Or, as I like to call it, the Hybrid Battle Royale. It is my distinct privilege to present a cornerstone of our experimental infrastructure, the pentadome containment system, hereafter referred to as the PCS. The PCS is a highly modular environmental complex composed of 5 interconnected biodomes, 4 peripheral domes arranged radially around a central larger dome, forming a unified yet compartmentalized system. Each dome functioning as a self-regulating biome while remaining integrally linked through controlled access points and transition corridors. This configuration allows for both ecological isolation and selective interaction, enabling precise observation of adaptive behaviors under varying conditions. The external biodomes are systematically designated as sectors A, B, C, and D, each representing a distinct ecological archetype. At the heart of the system lies the central biodome designated Sector X, which serves as the convergence zone for all peripheral environments and will play a critical role, as you will later see. Allow me to elaborate on the individual sectors. Sector A has been meticulously engineered to replicate a dense tropical rainforest ecosystem. Within this biodome, high humidity levels, stratified vegetation, and complex canopy structures create a vertically layered habitat. A shallow, meandering freshwater stream traverses the terrain, and notably a large hollow stump has been intentionally integrated into the environment, providing shelter or ambush opportunities. Transitioning to Sector B, we encounter a Mediterranean grassland biome characterized by moderate climatic conditions and a rich diversity of grasses and seasonal flowering plants. The terrain is relatively open, promoting visibility and mobility. At the center of this biodome stands a singular olive tree, deliberately positioned as both a structural landmark and a potential focal point for predicted competition. Continuing with Sector C, presenting us with a stark contrast in the form of an arid shrubland environment. This biodome is defined by low humidity, high temperature exposure, and coarse, sandy terrain. Vegetation is sparse but highly specialized, consisting primarily of cacti and various succulent species. These organisms provide limited shade and microhabitats, offering minimal yet critical refuge from the otherwise relentless solar radiation that dominates this sector. Refugee assets will have to earn the right to claim. And finally, Sector D introduces a coastal ecosystem centered around intertidal rock pools. This biodome simulates a shoreline environment complete with an integrated tidal system, allowing for periodic fluctuations in water levels and salinity gradients. The terrain includes rocky outcrops, shallow pools, and a small but biologically significant mangrove cluster located at one extremity of the dome, serving as a shield against the waves and turbulence. It is important to note that the water within this sector is saline in composition and is therefore unsuitable for consumption. Do not drink it. Now on to the ruling. Given the unconventional nature of this competition, it necessitates a set of equally unconventional regulations. However, in the interest of clarity, I will begin with a concise summary. First off, submissions must be based exclusively on real, biologically verified animals. This requirement extends to all taxa, excluding those that may be taxonomically disputed or subject to ongoing scientific debate to the point of uncertainty. For the avoidance of doubt, yes, extinct species are permissible, provided sufficient scientific documentation exists to support their anatomical and physiological characteristics. Secondly, unicellular organisms are strictly prohibited. The scope of this competition is limited to multicellular life forms exhibiting complex structural and behavioral traits. Thirdly, each participant is permitted a single submission. This ensures a balanced evaluative process and prevents disproportionate influence by any individual, and each submission must consist of a single asset. Collective entities such as packs, swarms, colonies, or symbiotic group constructs are not permitted under any circumstances. The use of generative artificial intelligence in the design of submissions is expressly forbidden. Having established these constraints, we now arrive at the defining parameter of this competition, one that will fundamentally shape both strategy and design philosophy. A strict mass limitation has been imposed. That limitation is as follows: 100 grams maximum. While some among you may have anticipated this constraint, keep in mind its implications warrant careful consideration. Historically, hybrid competitions have exhibited a marked bias toward large-scale assets, prioritizing brute force and physical dominance. At Bacuh Industries, we have identified this trend as both predictable and limiting. It neglects an entire spectrum of biological innovation that exists at smaller scales, organisms whose survival depends not only on size, but on precision, adaptability, stealth, efficiency, and sometimes adaptations that seem out of this world. This competition seeks to rectify that oversight. Let me be clear, enforcement of the weight limit will be done. Any submission exceeding the 100-gram threshold, whether through miscalculation, exaggeration, or intentional deviation, will be subject to immediate disqualification. At present, we do not possess the technological means to reduce the scale of a non-compliant organism, nor are we inclined to make allowances. Foundational rules established, we may now proceed to the operational structure through which the Hybrid Battle Royale will be conducted. At the start of the event, an undetermined number of chosen biological assets will be deployed across the 4 peripheral sectors A, B, C, and D within the pentadome containment system. Each sector will function as an isolated competitive environment with all access points to the central convergence zone, Sector X, remaining securely sealed during this initial phase. For a variable and undisclosed duration measured in days, all deployed assets will remain confined to their respective biodomes. During this period, a structured encounter protocol will be implemented. At least once per cycle, each asset will be subjected to a randomized pairing with another co-inhabiting asset within the same sector. These encounters are designed to induce direct competition, typically resulting in a combative interaction. The expected outcome of each encounter is singular survival, one asset emerging dominant while the other is rendered non-viable. However, it must be acknowledged that nature is inherently unpredictable. Deviations from this expectation, while unlikely, are not beyond the realm of possibility. Such anomalies will be documented and evaluated accordingly. This process of encounters will continue until the population within each sector has been reduced to a level deemed operationally optimal for the next phase. At that point, a transition event will be initiated. Upon activation of this phase, all barriers separating the peripheral biodomes from Sector X will be disengaged. However, this opportunity is not extended indefinitely. Any asset that fails to migrate from its designated sector into the central biodome within the provided time frame will be immediately disqualified due to being rendered non-viable. The ability to recognize, respond to, and exploit this transition is itself a critical component of survival. Sector X will then serve as the final arena. Within this central biodome, all remaining assets, now representing the most capable survivors of their respective environments, will engage in competition, and this phase will persist until a single asset remains, thereby establishing the definitive victor of the Hybrid Battle Royale. We now turn to the evaluative framework by which all submissions will be evaluated. Each creation will be analyzed according to a set of core performance criteria designed to capture both capability and ingenuity, offensive capacity, the effectiveness, versatility, and reliability of mechanisms employed to neutralize or outcompete opponents. This includes anatomical weaponry, predatory strategies, and any specialized adaptations for aggression. Defensive capability, the degree to which an asset can resist, evade, or mitigate incoming threats. Structural resilience, camouflage, behavioral avoidance, and regenerative properties are all considered within this criteria. Environmental adaptation, the ability of the asset to survive and function across diverse ecological conditions, particularly within the distinct biomes represented in the PCS. Congruency, the internal consistency and biological plausibility of the design. All traits and adaptations must cohere within a scientifically grounded framework, avoiding contradictions or unsupported assumptions. Factor X, a category encompassing emergent qualities that may not be fully captured by conventional metrics. Fan vote, a controlled audience voting process, will be conducted. This component introduces an external perspective, allowing broader interpretation and reception to influence certain outcomes. With this, we formally conclude our introductory briefing on the Hybrid Battle Royale. In the immediate aftermath of this transmission, a detailed publication will be issued via the designated YouTube channel, which will serve as the primary submission guideline. We now leave the initiative in your hands. You are encouraged to proceed with intent to explore the full extent of your creative capabilities. We anticipate results of exceptional caliber. Good luck. Proceed and create something worthy of remembrance.